one way you show off your wealth back in those days, you had to say, hey, I got to put a little something on my mini mansion, a little bling bling, and that was known as wrought iron or cast iron. Anybody seen any wrought iron or cast iron around here? Yeah, look down to your right past this tree. There's a dolphin fish downspout. You see it there? And there's going to be another one on the corner, front right corner of the home here. On the front left, but to your right. Those weigh about 80 or 90 pounds, also made out of cast iron, and they serve two purposes. Not only are they decorative, but it's said to wash evil spirits off your home after a good rain. If you don't believe Savannah ain't haunted, just stick around a while. I promise you, Duke University just voted us the most haunted city in North America. We beat out New Orleans. Off to your left as we make this right, you're going to see Colonial Park Cemetery back over that way where they're doing construction. That was established in 1750 and it was in business until 1853. South of it on the other end, that's where you had your dueling grounds. We also had dueling grounds on the east and west ends of the downtown city area. Now back in the day, you know, if you wanted to settle your difference with a fella, you just challenge him to a duel. They'd stand there back to back, and they'd walk about 12 paces and turn and fire at one another with a set of pistols. Law of prohibition, no slaves allowed. Well, all of a sudden, those new settlers started getting restless. They wanted to get rich too, like the other colonies. You see, the demand for cotton was worldwide. This is where the prices were set. Later on, here in Savannah, Georgia's a little bitty town. So they wanted to get rich too. So they started putting pressure on them trustees and Overthorpe. And guess what? By 1751, it was repealed. And that would cause a swell in the cotton boom as well as slavery to increase by tenfold over most of the other colonies. And that's where all this cotton wealth was produced because of its worldwide demand. And Mr. Edward Telfair, of course, he was rich. So his son Alexander would have that family home built back there. That butterscotch home was a signature color for an architect well known, William J. out of Bath, England. And his son would have the family 53. And that was about $3.5 million in today's money. That cotton wealth was rocking, wasn't it? You see, in general, it stayed with him. Well, that's why it's important to point out he was British at the Green Belgium. Charles Green said, hey, I'm not Union, I'm not Confederate. General Sherman's welcome, come stay at my place as long as he don't burn it down. That's where he set up his headquarters. General Sherman came into the city of Savannah, and on December 20th of 1864, he would pen a letter to Abraham Lincoln saying he had taken the city of Savannah with very little resistance, 150 heavy guns, and 25,000 bales of cotton. He would present it to him as a Christmas gift. Wasn't that thoughtful of him? The interesting thing was those red doors you may have noticed. Well, that was another symbol of the hidden symbol, kind of a secret back in the day, because that was for folks under the Underground Railroad. That's right. That particular church right there was a part of the Underground Railroad. Those red doors let you know that that was a place of safe harbor. If you go inside that house of worship today, you'll see purposely drilled holes in the floorboards there. And that was used for ventilation, for them folks to breathe. They used what was called a Congo cassagram, and that's a religious symbol that can camouflage it inside the aisle. I hope you can see the beautiful Wormslow plantation. That was Noble Jones, and it's got 404 very ancient live oaks that line the whole driveway. When I was a boy, that's where a lot of people on my daddy's side is from. My uncle built the first modern home out there in 1954. As young boys, me and Corbin James and Christopher Julian, we used to ride our bicycles all back through there. They got it roped off now, but I highly recommend you go out there and take a look at it. And Jones Street, after it started making its comeback, and SCAD started getting involved with the downtown area here and buying up buildings, offering tax breaks for families that moved back down here. That by the 90s, here come the crown jewel of the South on her way back and looking beautiful as ever. And that's when Southern Living magazine said Jones Street may be one of the most beautiful streets to walk down in America. I kind of agree with them. And here in Savannah, that's where they say you get to say it. Keep it up with the Joneses. That's where it comes from. Here comes famous Jones Street. Get your cameras out. Ooh, look to the right, look to the left. When I cross over Jones Street, I like to say, ooh, it's Jones Street. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, it's Jones Street. Y'all nailed that like a Susie King Taylor was born into slavery. If you're a school teacher, you're going to love this. And if you're a person who believes in overcoming adversity, you're going to love it even more. Born into slavery at 7 years old, Miss Susie King Taylor would come to Savannah and live with her free grandmother. grandmother knew if slavery was ever abolished, then one day the education was going to be extremely important going forward. And that's why she wanted to get her here so quick. But what you may not realize is it didn't matter if you had dark colored skin of any kind, it didn't matter if you was free or enslaved or not. It was against the law to be taught how to read and write. That's the big part we tend to miss of our history is everybody's free, but not everybody had the same rights. And so her grandmother got her here because they had a secret little thing going on. Just like you had the Underground Railroads back in the day, you also have what was called the Underground Tutoring System. Sure it is. There was folks that would tutor these people, taking a great risk to do so. You'd be thrown in jail for that. If not worse, beaten on the streets, dragged by horses, anything for doing that. That was highly illegal, and you just did female. As well as she did the laundry, and she was a seamstress all along the way. And interesting thing, why she was also sewing up the flesh and sewing up the clothes, she was doing something else. That's right, she was teaching them how to read or write. Just because you had that union uniform on didn't mean you had those rights too. She had, you see. And later on, as the Civil War came to an end, that's when the Union generals started figuring out Miss Susan Keith Taylor knew how to read and write. And that's when they started opening up what they called Freedmen's School. Back in Stop Six, that was actually one of the first Freedmen's School. When they started letting the slave men go, that's when they said, well, we got to teach them how to read and write. So they opened up Freedmen's School. Guess who they put in charge? Miss Susan Keith Taylor. She opened one up here in Georgia and one on the South Carolina coast. That's where you got your